It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
Tuesday, June the 4th. Good morning, Sweet Home Alabama. Fine way to ring in the morning. Skinnerd from their second album. That Freebird's on their first album, and that's on their second album. Where do you go from there?
Just throwing down anthems, you know.
Yeah, I mean, they hit the ground running. Leonard Skinnerd, you gotta give them credit for that. One of the great bands to this day. And I guess it's just me nitpicking, being a guy from the South. I'm like, they're not Southern rock. They're just Leonard Skinnerd. You know, because they're Skinnerd and the Allman Brothers, and then there's a whole bunch of guys that tried to be like those bands, but they were doing their own thing. Skinnerd owed as much to the British invasion as they did other Southern. But they were into Free. They were into Led Zeppelin. They were into the Stones.
I think here in the Midwest, we got into a debate one time about REM, a band that you love very dearly.
I do.
About being a Southern rock band. We're like, well, no, but there's this conception, I think, in the Midwest that anything below the Mason-Dixon line is Southern rock. Where I think of it as, I do tend to lump the Allman Brothers and Skinnerd and Blackfoot and the 38 Special and all those bands in there because they had that rock twang kind of thing going on, but I don't think it defines them.
No, I get into the weeds. I said, like I said, the Allmans and Skinnerd, they're just on their own lane.
Yes.
And then a lot of people decided who followed them said, I'm in that lane. I want to be like that.
But ZZ Top is a Texas band.
Sure.
But
Texas ain't the South.
Yeah, that's right.
And for that matter,
I'll tell you that.
For that matter, neither's Florida. Florida's Florida. Texas is Texas. And then the rest is the South. REM, it's funny you said that. Like, I remember an early critic said, well, I guess they're Southern, like, they're more like Flannery O'Connor Southern than, say, the
good old boy,
Dukes of
Bubba.
Hazzard, Southern. But it's really true. But then at the same time, I always used to look at Aerosmith and go, why aren't they Northern rock? Why we don't talk about the Northeast, Northeastern rock. Anyway, that's one of those things. But but at the same time, Southerners have a weird. There's a lot of pride, and it's an odd thing to me. And it's odd to Southerners. Like, what are we proud of exactly? And cultural, plenty to be proud of culturally. Music and food. I mean, my God, like all the American art, all the music of rock and roll.
Too, right there.
All the building blocks are Southern in origin. Southern food is its own thing. The way of life. There's a lot of good about it. Historically speaking, a lot to not be proud of course.
So we all screw up along the way.
We certainly do. And as a lot of Southerners will tell you, hey, man, the Stars and Bars only flew for 4 years over the slave states. The Stars and Stripes flew all them years too. It's what it is.
Right.
But we all have things we feel really good about. But then you go, I got to admit that's kind of weird. I mean, I am the son of a whistler.
Yeah.
My dad would whistle.
Talked about that, yeah.
My God, put a broom in his hand, and he only sweeps for 4 seconds, but the 4 seconds are like this. I mean,
whistle while you work,
as soon as he starts doing a task, he'd be like, let's go wash the cars today. Okay. And as he's pulling the hose out.
Was it always the same melody?
It would always start with that.
You're a very
and then
good
it would go
whistler
somewhere.
as well, yeah.
Well, we all, my brothers and I all whistle because we're making fun of our dad, like growing up, just doing it behind his back. And then at some point you learn that whistling is almost in all circumstances, 99% of the time when you start whistling, someone in the room wants to smack you.
Yeah.
And especially if you're in a recording studio during a recording session with a band.
All right.
I don't do that, but friends will come by, you're like, hey, check this song out. And then they start whistling along and you just watch the paint peel off the walls as the rage in the room. It's like, stop whistling. So and because we all whistle, again, grew up all doing it, trying to see who could whistle louder, who could whistle the longest. I do respect a good whistle.
Yeah.
The Baltimore Orioles had a guy whistle the national anthem the other day. And I mean, there's a lot of, again, I'm a good whistler but I'm not proud of it, but I'm proud of it. Well, I'm proud of it, ironically, because I realize it's never appropriate to whistle ever.
Yeah, it doesn't come in very handy, does it?
But it really does. Well, only to annoy people, especially strangers, like
especially
at a bar.
when you get that nose whistle and you get a bug up there.
Oh, well, that's just fun. Then you want to see how long you can go without losing it. Like you blast the bug and it's gone.
Good one. Just that perfect placement. Yeah.
This guy's name is Chris Ullman. He's an international whistling champion. And and for all the people who hate whistlers, I apologize. Just check out a little bit of this Star Spangled Banner and just marvel at how impossible this would be.
That part right there
Multiple
blows my
notes.
mind. Yeah. Sounds like there's two of them sometimes.
I'd already be out of breath. And how do you keep the lips moist? The warble. The Baltimore Oriole warble, I'll call it.
Oh, he does that? What he's doing? He's throwing the warble in there?
Oh, yeah, with the fireworks.
Damn, man.
Sounds like a fife.
Man, it really does. It sounds like there's about to be a battle, and you're waiting for the drums to kick in.
What was that?
Oh.
What happened there?
Orioles fans all scream the O. On O, say, can you see?
I see.
By the way, whistling a mile from where the Star Spangled Banner was written at Fort McHenry in Baltimore.
Yeah.
I tell you what, man, if you're going to whistle in public, by God, whistle like that guy. That is so hard to do. That is impossible.
Crowd goes nuts. Yeah, no, that's next level whistling. You're right. That's not what we consider whistling so much. That's it's like an art form, really.
Whistling is just an exclamation at best. I got fired from Mr. Getty's Pizza for whistling in the kitchen. I would whistle just to be annoying. And a guy, the manager, who was younger than me, I was 20, he was 19, and he said, "You can't whistle. That's a health hazard to whistle over food, like breathing over food."
What?
And then I did it again.
Is it just talking also? Or breathing?
Exactly. He kept saying you can't do it. And he looked at me once and he goes, "Gorman, if you whistle one more time, you're fired." And I went, like, "Oh, no."
What about the Breakfast Club whistle?
Get out of here. And I said, "Fair enough. Go ahead."
I can't do
No.
I can't right now. I'm not a bad whistler.
I got a little
Don't
I can do the
snicker over there, Ryder. Let's hear your whistle.
Oh, there's no whistling over here. It's a genetic thing.
Oh, give me the cricket, Tony.
No, I'm going to save it.
Okay. See, because it's hard to do it. It's hard to do it on demand. So go out there and
all right, I'm going to just try, just real quick here. I just wet my whistle here. All right, one real quick.
Let's have it.
Well,
Zep, holy crap. That's amazing.
Oh, my.
Being proud of my whistling ability, I feel it's like being proud of how I do at Wordle. Which is really, really good. And then I saw someone tweeted, "Hey, you know why you're so good at Wordle?" Answer, because it's easy. Yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right.
It doesn't matter.
It's a 5-letter word.
Yeah, that's why everyone does it.
Just put in a word with 3 or 4 vowels at the first one, and you're going to win every time. But, we all everybody's got that one thing they're oddly proud of. We've all got one or two. I'd say this is a perfect venue to discuss. So, we'll pick that back up. But anyway, somebody out there right now is listening, and they're whistling to themselves. And they're like, "Yeah, I could have been a contender. I could have whistled the national anthem." I'm quite sure of that.
We'd love to hear it this morning.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Tuesday. Time for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Hey, good morning, Steve and Tony and Zep. Good morning to everybody. It's Tuesday. Any movie at Marcus Theater, only $6. Any movie at any Marcus Theater, only $6. They do it every Tuesday, and this would be a perfect day to maybe cut your workday short and get to a movie at Marcus Theaters. And speaking of movies, from Hot Palm Springs, California, playing a lot of golf. Today, something a little different. I want to give you a heads up on 3 movies that you must see. Starting off with Kind and Kindness. It is one of the most unusual films of the year. It's a comedy drama that is produced and edited by the same guys who gave us Poor Things, that starred Emma Stone. And she stars in this movie as well. As does Jesse Plemons, who actually won Best Actor for Kind and Kindness at the Cannes Film Festival. Now, this is 3 very, very different stories in one. First, a man who tries to break free of what he sees as his predetermined path of life. Second, there's a cop who questions his wife's attitude and demeanor after her amazing return from death after her supposed drowning. And finally, a very confused woman searches for a spiritual guide to tell her how to run her life. I told you it sounds weird, and it's weird, but it is great. Opens everywhere June 21st. Some theaters will get it a week later. Write it down, Kind and Kindness. Next is Young Woman and the sea. So this is a Jerry Bruckheimer production. Don't hear much from Jerry very often. That did a touch and go on Disney Plus. However, it is going to drop at a Marcus Theater soon. This is a true story set in the 1920s about a young swimmer who won gold in the Olympics in 1924, who first gained recognition when she swam the dangerous 22 miles from Battery Park, New York to Sandy Hook, New Jersey. You know, that record stood for 81 years. Unbelievable story about Trudy Ederle. Trudy Ederle. Playing limited, opens everywhere, 4th of July. And one more heads up. Green lighted 2 years ago, but finally they're going to start shooting this another true story. A true story called The Man with the Miraculous Hands. The movie of Dr. Felix Kurtzen, who was the #1 physician for the Nazi Party. Also Himmler and Hitler's personal doctor. But secretly, he worked to save thousands of Jews from concentration camps. And Woody Harrelson plays Dr. Kurtzen. This won't be released until 2026. Hey, have a great day. I'm going to go play me a little golf here in beautiful Palm Springs. We'll do it again tomorrow. Mike Evans, see ya.
There's your Mike Evans Hollywood Report. I am more than prepared to educate us all. On this day, June 4th, 1974, 50 years ago tonight, the Cleveland Indians hosted the Texas Rangers, and they decided to have a little something called 10-cent beer night. What could go wrong, you ask? Right. Well, how about this? A week earlier, the two teams played in Texas, and the Rangers had cheap beer night. The game was marked by not only a brawl on the field, but all the drunk fans throwing their beers onto the field, attacking the Indians players. A week later, the Indians were like, well, let's do it here. Let's do it here. They had 25,000 fans came in. 65,000 beers were sold in the first 4 innings of the game. Kids were running on the field. A drunk woman ran out and attacked the umpire. A father-son tandem mooning the crowd. Multiple streakers throughout the game.
I kind of want to be at the game.
Rangers manager at the time, Billy Martin, pulled his team off the field because of all the cherry bombs exploding near their dugout.
Oh, man. Those were the days.
Bottom of the ninth, the Indians tied the game 5-5. The crowd went a little crazier than ever. A small contingency of fans hopped onto the field. They stole the cap and bat from Ranger left fielder Jeff Burrows. Anyway, 10-cent beer night didn't happen again.
God dang it. You only get one shot at those. Come on, Twins.
Man.
You got one in you, don't you?
And by the way, 50 years ago tonight, I could have afforded a 10-cent beer.
Amen,
I would have had at least a quarter. I was 9.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Tuesday, June the 4th. Tuesday, the runt of the week, as I have called it for many a year. So you know what Tuesday brings us now? Unfun facts. Let's just get your Tuesday off on the wrong foot. We've got a whole list of things that are anything but fun to share with you. I mean, I like to say if you're not living, you're not learning. That doesn't mean it's all good news. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Let's go to Lincoln, Nebraska first. The Lancaster County Sheriff's Office is investigating a little bit of a mix-up, if you will. We've got a little local news to give us the info.
This morning, just before 10, a Lincoln woman on hospice was pronounced dead at Waverly's Mulberry Nursing Home. Then she came here to this central Lincoln mortuary. Now, no one with the Butheris, Mazer, and Love Funeral Home wanted to go on camera today, but you can imagine the shock that some of their employees were in for when they discovered that Lincoln woman still breathing.
Whoops.
From a highly unusual dispatch call made by an employee just before they were about to begin their process.
A 74-year-old female that was believed to be deceased and brought here is now agonal breathing on the table.
Lincoln Fire and Rescue transported the 74-year-old to a hospital. So far, they say it was just a mistake.
Whoopsie. A medical mishap, they call that.
Oops. Oops.
They're having a meeting at the hospital this morning.
Yeah, they are. They really are. We want to double, triple. Let's quadruple check that next time.
Yeah. And I wonder, do funeral homes, as protocol, do they check, or do you just, by the time we get them, they've been through a doctor and this and that and transported, so we just start stabbing and slabbing.
Yeah.
But yeah, started breathing, and I think we were talking about it off the air. Said she's still alive as of today,
as of last night, still kicking. So we'll see if we hear anything different, we'll let you know.
Yeah, that's good.
It's not like this is this is not a woman in her prime. Clearly, she's got some issues, but you don't want to rush these things.
No, I guess not. I don't know how that happens, but they say it does happen from time to time, and like I said, I don't know. You do wonder, though, there was the sweet release of death, and now she's back. Is it more pain and suffering, and then she's just going to end up going again soon? But that's not the point.
No. It's well, one thing we can agree on: there's nothing fun about that story.
Nope.
Speaking of unfun facts around the subject of death, those crazy French invented that little thing called the guillotine, and it's super efficient, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
We shared one unfun fact about the guillotine recently, which is that people in line to be guillotined would want to be at the front of the line. Because the blade was sharpest.
Right.
They want because they would take 10, 12 guys at a time, and by the end of the line it would take more than one chop.
Oh.
And so they're like, no, I want to go first. I want to go first.
Oh.
Here's another one. A French doctor at the turn of the 20th century named Beru was asked to investigate what actually happens after the guillotine drops. He observed a severed head, and here are his observations. The eyelids and lips worked in irregularly rhythmic contractions for 4 to 6 seconds. I waited a few seconds longer. The spasmodic movement ceased. Then I saw the eyelids slowly lift up without any spasmodic contraction, but with an even movement, distinct and normal. The eyes very definitely fixed themselves on mine. The pupils focused themselves.
Ooh.
I was not dealing with a vague, dull look without any expression that could be observed any day in dying people to whom one speaks. I was dealing with undeniably living eyes, which were looking at me.
Oh, my God.
You got a wink.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
So that means, when you think about it, the head comes off. There's that moment of shock. There's got to be about a minute where you're. So that means, you know what's going on. You know that your head's been.
Yep.
Rolling around. I mean, am I important enough? Are they going to hold it up and show it to the crowd? Do I get a shot of the crowd? Or am I just going to get tossed in the basket with the rest of the heads?
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
However you slice it or dice it, it's unfun.
No, that's not cool.
How about this? Okay, Australia. The land down under, home of Barbies and Panadol for headache relief, mate, and all those fun folks in Australia.
Big cans of beer.
Big cans of beer. A lot of great actors coming out of
bands.
Australia. I mean, great bands from Australia. But then, of course, the downside is every living thing there can kill you.
No doubt.
There more snakes, more spiders. Every animal.
Yeah.
They got the weird. They got all the platypus, the kangaroo. They got all these. It's like it's its own planet, right?
Yeah, they have their own entire species of poisonous snakes.
They also have a plant called the Gimpy.
Steve, we don't use that word.
Gimpy, Gympie. Maybe it's Jimpy. Let's call it the Gimpy.
The Jimpy?
Otherwise known as the suicide plant.
Okay.
It doesn't kill itself, but when people touch it, it delivers multiple stings with a long-lasting neurotoxin that is so painful, people would rather kill themselves than live through the few days of excruciating pain. The pain has been described as being doused in hot acid and being electrocuted simultaneously.
And
sounds bad.
People have been driven mad by it. Horses stung by this plant have literally run and thrown themselves off of cliffs.
holy crap.
And by the way, to look at the photos, it's just a green leafy plant. There's nothing about it that suggests don't touch.
All right, so I'm not wearing shorts in Australia. I'm wearing thick canvas pants everywhere I go with gaiters. The Gimpy?
The Gimpy.
It sounds fun.
Bring out the Gimpy.
I'm here to say, I don't know, mate, the little Gimpy wouldn't take care of. Put that under the pillow. He rolls over and he screams for the rest of his life.
So it was being doused in hot acid and being electrocuted at the same time.
What if you could smoke it? A different effect.
That would be a hybrid.
I'm sure somebody has tried. I recommend never going to Australia. That's just me.
Just stay on the sidewalks, stay in town.
Fir trees can and have grown in human lungs.
Fir trees? How?
Fir trees. Somebody inhales a tiny little seedling, if you will, and it's a perfect environment, moist and warm, and it sprouts. And people start having, they're like, go to the doc, they do an x-ray, they're like, something, you've got a mass in your lung, they open it up, and it's a little fir tree.
Not a frog in your throat, but a fir tree in your lung. Okay.
And a fir tree in your lungs. It sounds like a Christmas classic to me.
Wow.
Insect populations.
Although, I'm sorry to back up, but you know what would kill that fir tree?
What?
Some smoke. Some
Yeah,
good old nicotine.
That's right.
I put that sucker down.
Insect populations, which when I just read this, I thought it said incest. Insect populations. Insect populations have decreased since the 1980s by 80%.
Oh, okay. I hear about this every once in a while. We know the planet's dying or whatever.
Yeah.
We're, getting wiped out, or I don't know. That's bad, I guess. Can they take the mosquitoes with them?
On the tail end of that unfun fact, yes, sir, the mosquitoes are going nuts. Two in the house last night.
Two in the house.
Open the door. Yeah. Open the door, walk in with Chauncey after a walk, and two follow me right in. And I'm like, oh, my God.
Yeah, we have standing water. Here comes another big gully washer. Got to get that standing water emptied.
The only thing I can say about the mosquitoes that's a positive at all is that I'm married to a mosquito bait woman named Rosemary, and they all love her.
For women in particular, my mom's the same way, too. We'll be sitting out in the backyard out there in the Dakotas, and mom is just swarmed. Well, every once in a while, one of us will get bit. So then she wants to immediately run back in the house, but we want her to stay. She's our own little mosquito magnet.
Gotta love her for that.
Yeah.
Taking a hit for the team as always. Moms are the best.
Yeah, they are.
Speaking of unfun facts, how about this? There are at least 8 nuclear weapons known to be missing across the planet.
Well, I hope they're in responsible hands.
Yeah, you would
I hope Tony has one and not me.
Wow.
Because I have a temper. I'll use it.
It's a good doorstop.
How the hell do you lose one? That's not something, we looked for like a whole month. We just can't find it behind the couch.
It's done. Sorry, guys. It's
out
done.
In the garage, on the top shelf. It's not there.
In the turn of the 20th century, a single female tiger living in India killed 436 people.
Is that true?
Yeah,
a tiger.
I remember that.
She's known as the Champawat tiger, responsible for the deaths of 436 humans.
Did they not know how to kill a tiger around the turn of the century?
Guess
she
not.
just was a badass.
They say, well, you don't want to get a taste for human blood. Yeah, trust me.
Yeah, she was drunk on human blood.
That tiger was. I saw a comedian once who did it was Joe Rogan of all people.
Yeah.
At a comedy club, and he did a great thing about tigers. If they weren't striped and cute, we would just call them what they are, monsters. And he went through this whole long thing about, do you know how all the ways tigers kill people?
Yeah.
And he talked about they literally swim into rivers and overturn rowboats to eat you. He went through all these historical facts about tigers.
They're great.
And it was great because he goes, no, they really should. We should change their name to monsters.
They're orange. They have stripes. Yeah. That's a great high school mascot.
Possums, great because they rid the world of so many ticks and mosquitoes. They eat them by the thousands. Unfortunately for us here on Unfun Facts Day, they're also coprophagic. Which means they eat their own poop.
Stop it.
They need the food to go through their digestive system twice to get all the nutrients.
Oh, you got it. That's a bad design, God, or evolution.
The brush-tailed possum is nocturnal. They spend their nights eating, and then their days are curled up into a ball with their mouth on their rectum, eating as it's delivered, so it goes through twice.
They're their own human centipede.
But what if they lose track of is this round 1 or round 2? What if they ate it? What if eating it twice would immediately kill you? They'd have to keep a real. You gotta have like a card system, like red light, green light. Which is it?
You give them a mint, they're fine.
Oh my God! All right, so things I don't want to come back as if that whole what's the word I'm looking for? Reincarnation is real. I don't want to come back as a possum. Don't want to have to eat my own poop all day.
And from possums eating their own poop, the average human being will spend around 3 years of their life on the toilet.
That's 4 for me, I think.
3 years on
4
the
or
toilet.
5. Well, I mean, now
And
there's so many ways to entertain ourselves.
And only one of those people recorded Heartbreak Hotel. So that seems kind of unfair.
That's right.
If we're all going to be on the throne that long, we should all have songs like that.
King's Bad Diet, he was on the throne a lot.
The average person will also spend approximately 6 months of their life waiting at red lights.
Yeah, on Highway 55, I believe. Come on, why? This morning alone, I'm sitting there. All 4 lights are red for like a good, I would say, 15 minutes. And by that, I mean 8 seconds. But why are they all red?
Hey, you know
so
what?
Long?
To your point, yeah, no kidding. When we went down to Lake City, I dropped you off, and I was driving home on that road, and I hit every light. I forgot to mention to you, I was cursing you. I was like, what is happening?
55 sucks. Can you guys get over and fix that? Put in those little, there's no sensors. If you're on a motorcycle, you're running red lights. Forget about it.
It was a little nuts. Okay, let's go. You know what? We have time for one more unfun fact of the day.
All right.
And that's that horned toads can and do squirt blood out of their eyes.
Oh.
I mean, come on, man. That's pretty solid.
I'd leave them alone.
No, wait. You know what? No, I'm not going out on that one. This is even better.
All right.
There is a sunken ship in the Thames, that's the river in London, in the Thames estuary. It is filled with wartime explosives. It's the SS Richard Montgomery. And if disturbed, the ship could very well detonate, and it would send a tsunami up the River Thames.
What the hell?
In London.
They
just said, you know what? The safest thing to do is just leave it be.
Well, don't tell the terrorists that.
I hope they have some signs posted.
A buoy? Oh, man.
Oh, Richard Montgomery, eh? Yeah, I know where you can find him, mate.
Dick.
I'll take you to. I'll show you Dick Montgomery for 50 quid. Yeah, this will turn them right round up there at Houses of Parliament. Won't see that coming, will they? No, they won't, isn't it? That's my all 7 British accents combined into one.
Not bad.
It only sounds good if you've never spoken to an English person. That's how I like to roll. Speaking of 55, we do have some local stuff to get into.
Yeah, right.
Local stories making the grade. We have a story about splitting lanes, which is sadly not about a new bowling strategy. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Tuesday, June the 4th. Check this out. Now, in the state of Minnesota, lane splitting is legal. It has gone into effect starting July 1st, 2025, lane splitting. Now, I was excited when I saw this because I thought this was what I used to do when I was drunk at a bowling alley. And you start in one lane and you throw your ball airborne across the gutter, land in the other lane, and then go see what you can come up with.
See if you can get that split.
You want to see how many times you can do that before you get thrown out of the bowling alley. That's not what this is about.
No.
Lane splitting, this is something we spoke about with our friends from the St. Croix Valley Riders Association last month. Donnie called in. He had a state legislator with him, and we were discussing this. It is now,
Seeberger,
Yep, it is now going to happen. Lane splitting. Zepp, you're a rider. I'll let you explain quickly what we're talking about.
Well, I haven't read the law, but here's
lane splitting.
But here's basically what it is you can ride your motorcycle between the 2 lanes of traffic. You're out on 35W now, sitting there. You've got 4 lanes wide, and it's stop and go traffic. The motorcycles can now split the lanes and drive down between the row of cars, which I'm shocked that Minnesota came along with this. First of all, the recreational marijuana I didn't see coming, but lane splitting because this is a very safe mom state when it comes to things like this. We see it happening in other states. California, probably most famously, you can lane split out there. I've lived in a couple of places where you could do it, but I never thought it would come to Minnesota, but they got the job done there in the legislature, and I don't know, did it while mom wasn't looking, I guess. So now, the motorcycles. Now, I have a lot of friends in Minnesota that don't ride motorcycles, and they hate it. They're freaked out by it. What if I open my door? Well, why would you open your door on 35W? Have you ever opened your door out on a highway before?
To litter.
Yeah, I would roll down your window and maybe it'll hit a motorcyclist while they're going by. You whip your can of Monster Energy drink out the window. But yeah, it's very safe. Heck, if California's doing it, they seem to be a bit on the nanny side when it comes to this stuff. And if it's okay for them, and they started this a long time ago because of gas prices passes. They wanted more people, less congestion, more people riding those two-wheelers. I'm all for it. Hell, motorcycle riding is around the metro is dangerous anyway. This isn't going to make it any more dangerous, and it's going to make it a lot more convenient. You may or may not know that big cruisers like Harley Davidson's, the Indian motorcycle cruisers, are air-cooled. They're not liquid-cooled, most of them, which means they have to be moving to cool down. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, and then your legs start to get hot, and then your thighs start to burn, and then you start thinking about the one that got away. No, I don't know where I'm headed with that, but I'm all for lane splitting.
A lot of studies have shown, some do recognize it can be risky, but it's a very effective way to lower the number of injuries and crashes and people hitting motorcycles. It's much safer. Yeah. It definitely reduces traffic congestion. So how about this? How about, if nothing else, it was a truly, in an all ways, old school bipartisan bill.
Yeah.
How about we celebrate that? Okay. Yeah. Maybe this leads to a few more things that everybody goes, okay, let's stop the pandering. Let's just agree on what's best for the most people.
Find some middle ground. Senator, Senator Seeberger, by the way, I wanted to mention that she was on the air with us and behind this bill in the legislation, along with ABATE and the St. Croix Valley Riders. So hats off, tip of the hat to all involved. And thanks for a little middle of the ground bipartisan legislation.
The other buzz in town right now is not about the lane splitting, but about the mosquitoes that are taking over the Twin Cities. Much higher than normal activity. The Metropolitan Mosquito Control District says all this heavy rain is a big factor. They are doing tests. They go out and they take a sample and they look for 2 to 3 larvae per dip. They dip into an area. If they pull out 2 to 3 larvae in a dip, they realize that area needs to be treated.
Got it.
That really does get right under my skin.
Right in your ear.
Don't you have something like the dentist drill you could play instead?
in several areas in the Twin Cities, they're finding 50 larvae per dip, 25 times the amount that suggests treatment is required.
You son of a...
Yeah.
Don't challenge Tony when it comes to sound effects.
Baby.
So, the old kiddie pool that's upside down under the deck, you feel free to dump that out. That's
please do.
Anything. The old tires in the backyard, feel free to dump those out because that standing water is only going to exacerbate the problem. And the damn skeeters, here they come,
Okay, so for today's ethical quandary, let me put on my ethicist hat and let's have a conversation, shall we?
Nervous.
There's a trial going on right now. It's a fraud trial. It's a very big case. You don't need to know the details of it. That's not where we're going here. It's about a $49 million fraud. There were federal funds that were intended for children in need, and of course, 7 defendants are on trial for reimbursing themselves from those funds. Scumbags who took a lot of money. So this is a jury trial. They're in the midst of the trial. And U.S. Assistant Attorney Joe Thompson went to the judge during the trial yesterday while they're in deliberations and said, Judge, we got to talk. One of the jurors, who is known as Juror 52, got a knock on the door Sunday evening. A woman showed up at her house, handed her a bag, and said, a woman showed up at the juror's home. At the juror's father-in-law's home. You've got a woman who's on the jury. Her father-in-law hears a knock on the door Sunday night. He opens the door, and a woman is standing there with a bag and says, "This is for Juror 52. Tell her there will be another bag if she votes to acquit." This is not a Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah, right.
This actually happened Sunday night. The dude opens the bag. There's $120,000 in cash.
Cha-ching.
So it's not a sandwich bag. That's a grocery bag.
Yeah, and since we're reading about it, this Juror 52 apparently did the right thing?
The juror did the right thing.
When I say right, I'm using quotations.
She reported the bribe to police, was excused from the case. So,
holy cow!
So this is being called this is the biggest pandemic fraud case yet. This all happened, during the years of pandemic. The judge sequestered the rest of the jury which just pissed them off to no end, you can imagine, detained the defendants.
Because they all had their bag of money.
The defendants had been coming and going. Now he's like, no, you're being detained. The jurors are being sequestered. Nothing tells me that the jury's going to vote to say you're going the way than putting them in you sequester the jury after they've already been free to come and go.
Yeah.
They're pissed off.
Yeah, of course.
And if they find out why this happened, if they're sequestered, they're not supposed to be aware of anything outside the world. They're supposed to lock you down. But if they know why they got sequestered, they're going to vote to convict.
Well, I mean, come on. They just went after one juror. Didn't another juror get a bag? No, I'm not suggesting, and I'm not throwing. Well, I am suggesting, but I'm not throwing out any serious allegations because I don't know squat about this. But I'm thinking, if you're bribing one juror, you're going to probably try and bribe more than one juror.
Yeah, why that particular one?
Yeah, exactly. You're going to see. Let's see if we can't get 2 or 3. You only need one, I guess, to upset the case. But to hedge our bets, let's go with a couple of them here. So, is there a juror now sitting there going,
I just picture an office space that was rented a couple weeks ago, and there's all these computer screens and a bunch of tech nerds pulling up information, and Gene Hackman goes in and goes, that one, find the father-in-law, and then all of a sudden here we are.
Yeah, this is really right off the Hollywood script, isn't it? That's unbelievable. And, of course, you wonder how often something like this might happen. But, yeah, when you embezzle millions of dollars, you've got some bags of cash to throw around. Well, that can't help their case.
No, I don't think
the
so.
defense on that deal.
I'd say
stay tuned.
They are in some trouble. So, okay, here comes the ethical part. What do you do?
What do I do?
What do you do?
I mean,
you're on a jury. You've already been sitting on trial forever. You're bored to tears. You're supposed to be deliberating, and there's a knock on the door, and you're looking at 120 gur.
Yeah, I would turn in all 60,000 of it. Every penny.
That's what I was thinking.
Every penny.
You want to see both bags, so I wait for the second one.
Yeah, right.
This guy showed up, and he offered me $20,000 to throw the jury. You'd think it'd be worth more, but I guess they thought they'd get me on the cheap.
I mean, because there isn't the ethical part is that what these people did.
Yep.
This money allegedly, crime that was committed here. You want to see it prosecuted,
but you also have to concern yourself. If they can find your father-in-law, they can easily find you after the fact. If they're throwing 120 in cash around, they have a phone number that they rarely call that goes to a guy who just pushes a button, and then you wind up floating in the river.
Yeah, that's right. They've got that kind of dough to float around. Well, it's very unsettling, I guess. It's if you're a juror on this thing, suddenly it went from, wow, this is going to be a long, boring trial to, watching your back, being sequestered. Are they, contacted? Do they know where my family lives? The plot thickens.
I would imagine this entire family's on edge. That's what I would think.
I was kind of watching this case from the sidelines. I'd check in on it from time to time, knew what was happening. Fraud cases, they come and go. But this one just got a whole lot spicier.
Generally speaking, though, we're not on edge because we live in the chillest city in America.
Do we?
Did you hear the list of the most laid-back cities in the U.S., Minneapolis, Minnesota, topping the list?
Really?
This is what I'm reading. From yoga to nightlife to a steady and not too demanding jobs market, it's a great quality of life. The average citizen in Minneapolis earns well above the national average, while the cost of living sits 2% lower than the average American metropolitan area.
All right. Well, it sounds good on paper.
Check this out.
Give a damn about Minneapolis or nothing else.
Well, okay, ma'am. I'll have you know, Minneapolis offers the highest rate of yoga studios per capita in the entire country.
Maybe that's what I'm missing out on. I'm not getting my yoga in.
No kidding.
You've talked about the hot yoga. I tried yoga once. Actually, you know what? I tried it. It was one of these fitness PX90 that was all the rage here.
Oh, sure.
About a dozen years ago. They had the yoga DVD. It's day 6 yoga. I'm like, thank God, because those other ones are kicking my ass. Now I just get to sit around and look cute in downward facing dog. I've got some pictures. I'll send you guys. But no, I hated the yoga. Never did it again.
I was a big fan of the hot yoga. In fact, I did hot yoga in Minneapolis on tour many times. There was a great studio. I don't think it's still here. Or if it is, I couldn't find it. But then the older I got, the more I needed that yoga studio to be like right across the street.
Right.
And I'll tell you why. Because you go in, it's a 90-minute class. So whatever time it takes to get there, you add that on. So 90 minutes plus drive to the studio, then at least an hour after the show, after the class, where I'm still sweating. because it's hot yoga. It's 105 or 110 degrees in there, and you walk out and you feel amazing. And then like 42 minutes later, you're like, yeah, I'm still sweating. Okay, get a cold shower. Doesn't matter. You're still sweating. So it really turned into a 3-hour escapade, which if you're on tour and you have nothing else to do till 4 p.m., perfect for a guy on the road. You just don't want, you got to get out of bed, you got to get some sunshine, get out of the hotel, and you don't want to go to the hotel bar, go to hot yoga. It's great. But now, in a normal life, 3 hours, I don't have it. So if it's not right, it's got to be right across the street, or I'm not going.
Yeah, no, probably not going to do it. And I'm sorry, I have a hard time saying I was just at yoga. I'm just that, I'm that old.
Anyone do the yoga at the brewery and they give you a beer afterwards?
You've got my interest, Ryder. Big and bad.
You can just lay there in like corpse position the entire hour and then just get a free beer.
Okay, see, now that's all you had to say to me. Beer yoga.
The first time I ever did hot yoga, I left the class, went home, quick shower, and met a friend for lunch, and I had fish and chips and Guinness.
That's right.
Huge mistake. Huge mistake.
A little bloating there?
I was like, my body was ready to
absorb everything?
It was like my body was I went from a state of perfection, like, oh, you've done this finally, thank you. All the cells in my body were like, hooray for Steve. He's finally looking out for us. And then it was just like, or this.
You son of a bitch. But see, I always thought working out, that's what it afforded me, is that then I could go slam the Devani's hot club sandwich and a pitcher of beer with that. But beer yoga, all right, I might be down. And this happens where? At a bar or at a yoga studio or?
A lot of breweries around town will do the beer yoga.
Because eventually I'll end up there. If I have enough beer, especially at these breweries with their 11, 12, 13, 14% alcohol in them, I'll end up in some sort of, if you Google it on the internet, it's very insensitively called Irish yoga.
Oh,
You'll see the position people passed out in these yoga-like positions. Yeah, so all right. Now you have my attention.
I did see one. It was called Downward Dog, but it was DAWG, like damn dog.
Not looking good.
Hey, so I don't know if there's going to be any yoga involved, but
spoiler: there will not be any yoga involved.
Okay, so Saturday we will be going up to Anoka. We're going to be we're going to hang out in Anoka.
We'll be crawling.
We'll be crawling. We're going to be crawling around, taking advantage of the social scene up there. We're gonna spend the day. I've never been to Anoka. I'm very excited for my first trek to the town of Anoka, Minnesota.
It'll be a nice introduction. We'll have to get you back there for some Halloween celebration. It is the home of Halloween. Anoka, Minnesota. But, I'm just looking at the sketch here. This is happening on Saturday. And when I say sketch, we've just kind of thrown this together. And when I say we, I mean Ryder. But we're going to start at Serums. That's where you start on Jackson Street. But it's now known as the Anoka Social District. Is that right?
Yep.
All very formal. But we're going to start at Serums at 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon. And you're invited. Yeah, you listening, stuck in traffic. Come join us. And then, because now we can walk with our beer, right?
See, it's all about being able to walk with your beer.
Can we take our wings from Serums? They have very good wings. Just down the street with us?
That's why you bring a light windbreaker and have pockets and just stuff them full of wings.
Wait a minute. Is it going to go something like this?
Gorman, we've got our very own drummer boy.
Drummer boy. Seems rock star.
Rock star. Rock star.
Oh, yeah. We're on the road. On the road.
We were all on the road together and it got kind of fun,
Let's hit the road, man. You're kidding. Action. Adventure. Whee!
Hello, Steve. Hello, Steve.
Meet Steve Gorman.
Minnesota?
Minnesota.
All right, let's hit the road, okay?
Minnesota changed his life.
Super.
It's Steve's excellent adventure.
Let's eat up, let's drink up, let's make some memories.
Come join us.
That's different.
Join Steve Gorman.
I'm Steve Gorman.
You should meet me because I'm a great guy.
Blah, blah, blah.
Meet Steve Gorman.
This could be fun.
My gosh, you busy little beaver there in Studio D. The ante's been upped now.
I feel like I just stuck my tongue in a fan.
His dog Chauncey.
What have I committed myself to?
Wow.
Adventure.
This is going to be Steve's excellent adventure. Come introduce him to Anoka, especially you residents in Anoka. Meet us at Serums at 2 o'clock, and then we're gonna go to 201 Tavern, Billy's, the Wheelhouse, the whole deal. We're gonna enjoy the Anoka Social District and introduce Steve to some walking and drinking.
All right, so who's driving? That's my only question, because it ain't going to be me.
Oh, we'll get Big Jer and one of the official KQ vehicles to dump us all in the back of that. The KQ paddy wagon.
My expectations for the day are rapidly evolving. And then we'll rapidly devolve with every passing hour.
I told Ryder this morning, I said, it's Saturday. We're doing that. It's cool. Awesome. We talked about it yesterday. And I did have plans for Saturday night. If you're listening, they've been canceled. We're not going to the show. Not happening. Taylor the Magnificent, my daughter. In fact, maybe she'll come on the crawl, but I can't imagine anything's going to happen Saturday night after the Anoka social pub crawl with Steve Gorman.
We started the day talking about a guy who whistled the national anthem at a Baltimore Orioles game. And I mean, when I say whistled the national anthem, I mean, dude is a monster whistler. As a whistler myself, I have full hats off, high fives. And see, I'm proud. Oh, listen to that. Wow. The warble is impressive.
Very tricky.
He knocks out the entire national anthem, complete with fireworks at the Rockets' red glare and stuff. And so we were talking about things that we brag about that really aren't that cool. Like whistling's never been cool. Unless you're that guy.
Yeah.
That's like international whistling champion level. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
And on the KQRS Facebook page, we put up, what's something you brag about that's not actually a big deal? And there's a few good ones. A guy named Tim writes in, I've never been in a car accident. I've avoided a few. Been driving 40 years.
Oh, dude.
That actually is really impressive.
It's very impressive, but I'm too superstitious to bring it up if it were me, and it's not me. But yeah, good luck, man.
My grandmother, on my mom's side, check this out. My grandmother was born in 1884.
Wow.
Not my great-grandmother, my grandmother. And I remember her. So she died when I was 4, or the summer I turned 4.
Right.
And I have very vague memories. But she lived her entire life, 1884 to 1969, never got stung by a bee. And I decided I will also never be stung by a bee.
You've never been stung by a bee?
No, I lasted till I was like 6, and then I got stung twice, and I was like so upset. I was deathly afraid to be stung by a bee, and the pain of the bee sting was not as bad as the sadness of having been stung, as it turned out.
Well, that's something. The disappointment paled the pain.
But my 23-year-old son has still never been stung by a bee, and he's very proud of it. And he talks, and I didn't put that in his head. Hey, I was afraid of bees when I was a kid. He just grew up. He hates needles. To give him a shot is to take your life in your own hands.
Probably hate a bee sting.
And he would hate a bee sting, but he has always had that thing of like, and he is to this day, he's like, I'm gonna make it. I will never be stung by a bee.
Does he get skittish or flighty or weird if there's a bee in the area?
Yes, he will.
So he'll flee.
And I've tried to tell him, I'm like, no, you have to go into lockdown mode. Just turn all the switches off. Just sit very still.
Do you ever come up behind him, sneak up behind him, and go? Zzz?
I don't.
Okay,
but now that gives me an idea. Tony on the page said no tickets, no accidents. 22 years behind the wheels. Knocks on wood.
Okay.
Yeah, you better knock on wood.
All right.
I got my first ticket and my first accident out of the way within the first year I was driving. Nobody can top Tony Lee's first ticket.
No, sir.
Driving for how many hours?
Just got my license that afternoon.
So 6 hours, 8 tops?
No, not even that. Got a ticket for going over the Ford Bridge, ticket for speeding and for having 12 people in the car.
The
12.
Best. It's
12.
I love everything about that story, and then every time I hear the word 12, it just takes it to a whole nother galaxy.
We're not talking about a Chevy Suburban here.
Yeah, no. This is not a shag carpeted Chevy van with beanbag chairs.
65 Galaxy 500.
God dang.
12 people climbed in there.
And every one of them wearing a clown outfit.
Body parts everywhere.
Right?
Every time I've heard you tell that story, I picture the scene in Animal House when they take the Lincoln Continental out, and there's just that there's that one scene at dusk where the car does a big fishtail, and the music's going, and they're racing along to the bar trying to go find Otis Day in the Nights.
Yeah.
And I just picture you like skidding through traffic
I
and doing
probably
power
was.
slides.
Probably was.
Fantastic. On the Facebook page, Billy shares, I've never farted. Okay, first of all, no, you're not a horse. I don't believe this. If you brag about it, that's not actually a big deal. No, that's a huge deal, and you need help. Go to the doctor.
Yeah, right. It sounds unhealthy.
There you just did.
Better out than Man, thank you.
Man.
Oh, that just feels good to hear.
What else have we got? Deba posts she has perfect pitch. No, I'd brag about that.
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. The only problem with having perfect pitch is you are always aware of what's not in pitch. You hear every bad note of everything.
Oh, yeah.
That's tough. That's like walking around. You're listening to a band and you're just chewing a tiny bit of foil, and every now and again, that note was off. Hey, that note was off. Yeah, that's not good.
We couldn't spend time together.
That could be really, really, really tough. Hey, KQ's karaoke cruise is back June 21st on Paddleford Riverboats, featuring 2 karaoke stages, drinks with the KQ crew, and free food from Lucky's 13 Pub. Tickets are on sale right now at 92kqrs.com. Sponsored by Alexander Exteriors and Dennis Kirk. We're going to have a blast, and we think you should join us.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning for Tuesday, June the 4th. Lots going on around here today. Motorcycle riders are happy. Lane splitting is now going to be legal in Minnesota. Very, very good news for our two-wheeled friends.
I mean, man, you're going to be able to blast through this morning traffic and get there. It's going to be fun. And let's be honest, the people that are against it are just sore losers, really.
Yeah, see, that's how that works.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. What else is going on around Minnesota? A recent survey said we're the most chill big city in America.
That's right. Take it. We're chill.
Laying back. More yoga studios per capita than any other major market. That's true. I'm not making that up.
All right. I'm not living the yoga scene, but I'm going with the chill.
But you got to appreciate the flexibility of your fellow Minnesotans, at least in the Twin Cities area. Another cool thing about living in Minnesota is June 20th, you have a chance to see Celeste Barber at the State Theater. You're going to have an even better chance if you are caller 9 or 2. Hey, look at that. We got a couple people on hold who want to play a game to win tickets to see Celeste Barber. Tony Lee, today's game, sir.
Hey, gang. Who wants to torture a simian?
Fellow Minnesotans, at least in the Twin Cities area. Another cool thing about living in Minnesota is June 20th, you have a chance to see Celeste Barber at the State Theater. You're going to have an even better chance if you are caller 9 or 2. Hey, look at that. We got a couple people on hold who want to play a game to win tickets to see Celeste Barber. Tony Lee, today's game, sir.
Hey, gang. Who wants to torture a simian? Yeah, we're going to test your knowledge, your random trivia skills, your fine ability to guess. So we've strapped an unsuspecting monkey to a metal chair here in the studio, and we're going to fire off questions. You get it wrong, well, we might ridicule you, but get it right, and you get to send 2,000 volts of electricity into the hide of the unfortunate chimp.
Oh, poor little guy.
No, he's fine.
Yeah, no,
he's got it coming.
He's totally anything for attention. You know how those chimps are.
Yeah, it's not like we're pouring hot acid on him and electrocuting him at the same time.
No, not at all. That would be that's not chimpy, but jimpy. Hey, you know what though? Let's look forward. Let's have fun. Who's caller number 1, Tony?
Number 1 is our buddy Jeff from Tubac, Arizona.
Jeff, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Great, thank you. Are you calling in from Arizona?
I am. I'm standing out watching the sunrise.
Beautiful.
Tubac.
Well, man.
I live in my RV down here with my 17-year-old blind Chihuahua.
Well, then you've already won, my friend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
that's fantastic.
It's fabulous.
All right. Well,
so I was doing some yoga this morning, too.
Oh, were you doing yoga this morning?
I was.
Dude, you're the king
Taking
of the world.
Some of that Minnesota chill down to, where is it? New Mexico. Yeah.
You went to Leonard Wood, right?
I did go to Fort Lost in the Woods.
So did I. Okay.
Attaboy. Engineer, 12 Bravo.
I was a combat medic, and I got some MP training too.
I appreciate you. Thank you for your service, brother.
Yeah, likewise.
Man, Jeff. All right, we're locked and loaded for a little shock the monkey. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Jeffrey. Number 1, in 1807, Emperor Napoleon was attacked by rabbits. True or false?
Oh boy, I gotta go with false on that one.
I'm sorry, that is true. He was attacked by rabbits.
All right.
Indeed.
Well, open up the cannons on him, or
I believe they were known as Lapin.
I mean, he didn't need Waterloo. That's when he really lost it. That's when he jumped the shark. That was late in 1807, you said? Yeah, that's the rabbit attack.
Yep.
I missed that one in the biography.
I missed it. Number 2, it's the world's oldest organized college sport. And every year since 1841, England's Oxford and Cambridge universities have competed in the sport of log rolling.
No, it's rowing.
Yeah.
You are correct, and you got to shock the monk.
Well done.
Very painful. Oh, look at the smoke trail.
So this is like a Stanley Milgram experiment then, huh?
Look at Jeff. You can tell he wasn't an engineer. He's a combat medic. He's smart.
Jeff, number 3, the main female character in Gone with the Wind is named Scarlett Grumsfield.
Incorrect. That would be Scarlett O'Hara. And frankly, Tony, I don't give a damn.
Wow. I'm still blown away by the Stanley Milgram reference.
Yeah. Right, that's impressive. Jeffrey, number 4, in 1971, Clint Eastwood directed and starred in the thriller movie Play Misty for Me. In the film,
Indeed, he did.
In the film, his character's occupation was an orthopedic shoe. Oh, way to go, Jeffrey. You took the fun. Well, anyway, sounds like you got it right.
Sorry.
You guessed the correct occupation. Then I guess kind of silly.
I guess what I loved about that. Oh yeah, you got to get that monkey. I smell burnt hair now. I guess what I loved about that Clint Eastwood playing the disc jockey is that's really a good representation physically of all disc jockeys. I think Clint Eastwood.
Sure.
Yeah.
Along with the convertible in the house in Big Sur overlooking the Pacific Ocean.
That's how we all live.
There's that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jeff, you're on a roll, brother. 3 for 4.
This one goes out to lovers on a cool night. That was a creepy movie.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it was a creepy movie.
You know who the stalker woman was?
Jessica
Lucille from Arrested Development,
right.
the mom.
I dated all sorts of versions of her. Yeah.
God, she was creepy. All right, your last one. Former Late Night with Conan O'Brien sidekick Andy Richter's great-grandfather was the namesake inventor of the Richter scale used to measure the intensity of earthquakes.
Oh, boy. Let's see. I got to say no.
You are correct. It's false. It's silliness.
You got to get up awful early in the morning to sneak one of those past Jeff. I mean, Arizona early.
Yeah, no kidding.
Man.
I was up at 3:30 waiting for you guys to come on. So
that a boy. Right on.
Are you
Jeff.
one of those survivalists down there, Jeff? You're off the grid?
No, I drank too much and I fell asleep at 7:30.
There you go.
So I woke up at 3:30.
Hey, man, survival comes in many forms and shapes and forms. So you're doing your best.
Hey, and Brian, you'd love it down here. I get a 15% military discount on my weed. I get ounces for $42 down here.
Where'd you say you're at? Where am I visiting this summer?
Arizona.
All right, I'll see.
I mean, Minnesota, just copy Arizona.
Yeah,
you know?
All right, fair enough. I like it. I think some of those tax laws I dig as well. Well, Jeff, you're living the life. Outstanding, brother.
Just when you land at Sky Harbor, just say, anyone know where Jeff is? They'll point you in the right direction.
Oh, yeah, with the 17-year-old blind chihuahua.
That's it, exactly. Jeff.
Well, I'm moving to the Caribbean in about a month and a half. I got a boat down there.
Oh, dang it, man. I don't know how you did it.
I think I'm selling my RV today, and then I'm moving down there with my dog. I'll be down on Happy Island. So if you guys ever get down to Grenada, and everybody remembers we invaded Grenada during President Reagan's first term.
Of course.
See you there.
Go to Happy Island and say, where's that Minnesota gringo? And they'll know where I am.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
All right, so
like Jeff.
King Jeff went 4 for 5 in round 1. Congrats, sir. We're going to put you on hold. We got to move on to contestant number 2. Tony, who we got?
Welcome, Sam from Minneapolis.
Sam, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Are you ready to play Shock the Monkey, my friend?
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
Let's go, Sammy boy. Number 1, in the food pyramid, the eggplant belongs in the vegetable section.
True or false?
False.
Oh, good shock.
Just leave it in the produce section.
It has
Not
seeds.
an eggplant guy.
It's in the nightshade family.
So it's a fruit?
It's related to the pepper and the tomato, Stephen.
Okay. Well done, Sam.
Yes. Sammy, number 2, chicken chain KFC redefines finger licking good by offering chicken-flavored edible nail polish.
I want to say false.
It is true.
What?
Oh!
There's an original and hot and spicy available in KFC Hong Kong.
No.
So it's now it's better than all right. So no more huffing it. You can actually eat it. All right.
Like it.
Sure enough.
Number 3, in the original movie Rocky, Sly Stallone's real dog was featured, and his name in the movie was Tiny Tim. True or false?
True.
False. The pup's name was Butkus.
Butkus did Butkus. And who had a puppy named Butkus? This guy right here. That's why I named my dog when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Just like Rocky.
Yeah, Tony Dunnick brought him to the locker room and I think it was 7th or 8th grade football. And he said, hey, my dad said we're going to kill all these unless you guys want to take them. So I snuck one home and Mom heard it whining. And then called him Butkus after Dick Butkus, but Rocky works too.
Sure. All right, Sam. Let's do this.
Number 4, the powerful warlord from the moon Titan, who has battled and clashed with beings in the Marvel Universe, including the Avengers, X-Men, and the Fantastic Four, actually has a less evil brother named Dennis.
Hasn't failed me so far. I'm going to go true.
I'm sorry. Thanos does not have a brother named Dennis.
Well, not that he would admit to.
No.
Yeah.
And your last one, sloths poop only once a week, and when they do, it's epic. They vacate 1/3 of their entire body weight. True or false?
Oh. This sounds like it could be. I'm just going to true.
I love it.
You are right. The poor
There we
sloth.
go.
It came through for you.
Better than being a possum, as we learned in Unfun Facts.
No kidding.
I'm going to go back and listen to that on the podcast.
Man, Sam, looks like you went 2 for 5. A solid effort, my man, but not quite enough. Thank you for your time and for listening and calling in. But today it's all about King Jeff.
Yeah, hard to beat a hothead patriot.
Soon to be of the Caribbean.
Yeah, just go to Happy Island and ask for the Minnesota Gringo.
Love it. Jeff, you've got tickets June 20th to see Celeste Barber. Hope you can squeeze that in on your way to Grenada. You say tomato, I say tomato. Thank you for playing, brother. It was great to have you on the show.
Grenada's a city in Spain.
That's right.
Thank you, Jeff.
So there is no tomato with those two. But seriously, open invitation. Go on YouTube and just Google Happy Island Grenadines. He's a good friend of mine. I'll be anchored right in that harbor. And
don't be shocked. Don't be shocked.
So,
if I show up, man.
Guys, have a fabulous day.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
We'll see you. I am, as we speak, looking on a map at Happy Island.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's
smoking weed,
wow.
doing coke,
drinking beers.
That's just in the midst of a whole bunch of islands I've never even seen before.
How you get it done. Just when you think you've got it figured out, and I was thinking, we're talking about things we're oddly proud of, and we've got it up on the KQ Facebook post, and we're taking them on the talk and text line 651-989-ROCK. And I was thinking, what's just being a DJ? I mean, just not working for the last 36 years is what I'm oddly proud of, and getting away with it. But, then you run into somebody like Jeff, and you think, there is an easier way. There's your Minnesota chill right there. He just took it abroad.
That's very true. I love the bouncing around from one to the other. I'm in the desert.
In a trailer.
Heading
off to Happy Island.
Odd flexes. There's a list. There's a KQRS Facebook post up, and people are chiming in. I can sing the Mongolian national anthem by heart, but I've never been to Mongolia. Okay. I can sing the national anthem of France. I have been able to do that since I was a student. I have been to France. I've never been. It's never served a purpose other than making people think I know French. That's all it really serves to do.
There are 3 songs I can sing every word to, but only drunk. And I have tried sober. The theme to the Love Boat. I can belt out every word, but I've got to be drunk. Rockin' Robin. Remember that old Rockin' Robin? Sitting in the treetops all day long.
Yeah.
I can spit out the entire thing, and often have, but only drunk. And I can't even get through the first verse sober, but I forget what the third one is. It's a Skynyrd tune.
Here's an odd flex that we've all done in one way or another. Guy said he had to pee in a Gatorade bottle in a car. He was thrilled to find out his bladder can hold 32 ounces.
Nice.
Your bladder can hold a lot more than 32 ounces, buddy. Trust me. Or at least mine certainly can.
I'll give you my 2 sound effects I'm most proud of that I can do.
Please.
Number 1 is cricket.
Incredible. Yeah, I'm so envious.
Yeah.
And number 2 is the Jetsons car. All right, let me warm up.
Okay, dude.
Thank you very much.
For anybody thinking that was a sound effect, no. Tony, he went right to left.
Yeah, sure.
Panasound. It was fantastic.
Thank you kindly.
It's the exact tone and everything.
Very proud.
That's a good one.
That cricket thing where you're kind of whistling and doing that together.
Yeah.
I'm so envious. I had a drum tech who could do that. Noodles, great guy. And he could do that just on call. We were playing a gig once, and the fourth album for the Black Crowes was a bit of a left turn, and then the live show was a huge left turn.
Which one was that?
Three Snakes and One Charm.
Okay.
We were just jamming. We would go out and play like a 2-hour show, and it was 12 songs. We were just going. Musical segues, improvisation on stage. And it was always either really great or just, swing and a miss. We were playing a gig in Lyon, France, speaking of France. And the audience, 2 years earlier, we had blown the roof off the joint. And then we show up, and it's just like... And the audience is looking at us like, what in the, how many drugs are these guys on? And it was dead. We finished, the first song went right into the second song, went right into the third song. So we play for about 18 minutes and then stop. It's dead silent. I mean, they're staring at us like, what in the hell has happened to them? And there was a band much like, they look like this, but they sound very different. I'm confused. I don't know what to make of this. And our singer took his microphone and he put it to my drum tech's mouth, who went... just did the cricket sound over the PA. And we were all laughing so hard as our career was just going up in flames. Joan of Arc style, laughing at the stake. Hey, isn't this funny?
I love it.
We've completely alienated a whole city in France.
Strike up the band on the Titanic.
Man, I tell you what, that was
awesome.
But Noodles was making that noise over the mic. It sounded amazing coming out over the PA too.
That's Tony Lee-like timing there. That's good stuff.
It's great. And I've always wanted to be able to do it. Never could.
No, I can really try. If you really sat around and practiced, because I've tried once and went, okay, not good, not there, not going to happen, not going to go there, not going to spend my time trying to.
I can whistle in a bunch of different mouth settings. Like I can just a standard, and then you can inhale whistle. On the inhale, but then I can. That's a side. My teeth are totally different. Oh. I have one if I put all my teeth out of my mouth and just blow.
What do you mean? Put all your teeth out of your? Oh, I see.
I mean, push my teeth.
I thought he meant he took out.
Sorry,
I thought he was going to pull out his dentures right in front of me.
I'm sorry. No, my upper teeth. I just stick them out go buck tooth and then blow, and then a weird whistle comes out. Yeah. And then I can do the very loud. I can do all those. Really, I can hurt you with that whistle.
I've heard you called Chauncey with that.
Yeah, it cuts right through.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: never ever has any of that whistling talent gotten me any closer to a girl.
No. No, women don't. Yeah, they don't seem to respond to the whole whistling thing, do they?
No, nobody does. Anybody with a couth, steer clear from the whistlers.
No couth.
No, the whistlers are just trying to cover up for some other glaring lack of social understanding or connection. I'll just whistle my way through it. Hey, I'm a fan of cheese. Everybody likes cheese on a certain level.
Had some this morning.
Couple things to share with you. Cheese Day, as well as, and this may or may not be unrelated, the starting of a new business, a poop museum. That's right. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Tuesday, June the 4th, also known as National Cheese Day.
Cheese.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. National Cheese Day.
I've already celebrated. I got up this morning yesterday over at my favorite grocery store and picked up a block of Wisconsin cheddar. And you know what? I splurged a little bit.
Really?
Yeah. I got a couple extra bucks in the paycheck, so I went for the, 8-year? Or was it 4-year aged?
Ooh, fancy.
Oh, I know. You get that going with a good cracker. A good cracker and a really good beer. I know you're supposed to do the wine. I get it, but I don't have wine laying around. I'm not against wine. Yeah. I'll drink wine if someone knows what to buy me and pour it in a glass. Mm-hmm. But it goes pretty damn good with a pale ale as well.
Yeah, sure it does. Cheese pretty much goes with everything, I've found.
Mm-hmm.
I come and go with cheese. As in, I'm never consciously not having cheese, but there will be times in my life when I look up and I go like, man, I haven't had a good piece of cheese in a while. And then I'll go on a 10-day jag, and I will just cheese out, man.
It's a welcome friend.
It ain't easy being cheesy, but no, it's always never far. And of course, I know that Velveeta and the goo cheese, what is that, Tostitos stuff they sell in the jar there?
Cheese whiz.
Yeah, that I've been known, I'll just finger that. I know what that sounds like, but I will. I'll just get a finger in there and just, all night long.
Take a minute to reset my appetite.
I don't like the way that came out at all. I did not try to do that. But I know that's not cheese. That's a cheese product, but I'm going to count it.
Good news, if you open up a package of cheese and notice it's wet and a little slimy, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that moisture is
weird.
It's actually whey, W-H-E-Y, whey. A normal part of the aging process. The cheese continues to do so after packaged. Here's another little fun cheese fact, and I am happy to read this because I did not know this. Sometimes you see little tiny specks of white.
Yes.
Or as I prefer, white. That you notice on aged cheese like a Parmesan or some cheddar. It's not mold. The little white specks are not mold. It's either calcium lactate or triacine. Both naturally occur when lactic acid interacts with calcium in the cheese. So if you see those little white specks, go for it. It's perfectly fine.
You can really taste the triacine.
Now the little you want to try some triacine?
I've ignored it largely anyway. I mean, I won't throw it away, but I will scrape it off. But I don't have to.
I have seen on many of occasions in other parts of the world, there'll be a hunk of cheese, and there will be the actual, it looks like a bruise. I mean, it's a purple and greenish and blue, a hunk of mold is what I'm saying. Yeah. And they'll just cut it off and just move that. It doesn't mean the rest of the cheese is infected. Yeah. I don't know if it's true or not. I assume that the French know what they're doing, but I've watched guys just cut that off.
When it comes to cheese, and wine, there's a couple of things we can count on the French for. That would be one of them, the cheese. But isn't cheese kind of mold? I know people say that's mold. It's mold anyway. It's good, delicious, tasty mold.
I have. I mentioned earlier that I can sing for no real reason that I can ever utilize the French national anthem. I did, in fact, one time offend an entire set of French. We shot a music video in France, in Paris, and on set you would take a long break for lunch. There were wine and cheese at the table, and we were really, really bored, and it's a really nightmarish situation. Long story short, it seemed funny to us for me to shove my mouth full of cheese while drinking red wine, singing the French national anthem.
That is funny.
Just to be the really dumb, ugly American at the table. So I went for it hard.
You can't get out of being the dumb American in France is what I've learned, so just embrace it. If you can't get out of it.
Yeah, if you can't get out of it, get into it. Thank you. Wine and cheese spilling onto my shirt as I'm singing, and I'm looking at all the French, like, come on, let's do this together. And all the French people looking at me and smiling because for that day, in fact, they're like, well, he's in the band, we have to be polite, but they wanted to murder me.
Yeah, good. Well, upsetting the French is like, depressing a teenager. It doesn't take a lot of effort. I applaud that.
But what I was actually doing was looking out for my health, and that's I'm happy to know retroactively that it was good for me because Iowa State University has done a study that says drinking red wine and eating cheese can in fact reduce the risk of dementia.
Oh.
How about that?
Yeah, it seems like everything contributes to dementia. Let's work the other way on this deal.
A study of many, many, many folks between the ages of 44 and 76. Of course, I was in my 20s when I did that. They found that a daily glass of red wine, eating cheese, as well as having some lamb once a week helps protect the brain from damage due to the levels of protein. Cheese was found to be the most protective food against cognitive problems later in life.
Okay, so that
Don't
would
listen to him. He's drunk on cheese.
Wow.
That was you. So feta cheese works, right?
I mean,
that's a cheese. So I get myself one of those gyros and a glass of wine. What would pair with my
gyros?
What would pair with my gyro? Because you get your lamb meat in there, and then you get your feta cheese loaded up. And then I just need a wine to wash it down with. Maybe a nice Bartle and James.
Could be.
What is that? Mad Dog.
The problem with this study also determined the worst food for the brain in terms of protecting you from the worst thing is salt. I tend to chase a salty snack with some salt myself. I don't have a sweet tooth. I got a salt tooth.
What's that line you love from Kids in the Hall? Salt? Can you pass me the salt?
Would you like some salt? Yes, I like flavor. Yeah. The risk of Alzheimer's significantly worse when high levels of salt were consumed.
Crap.
Yeah. I had my yearly checkup the other day, and for the first time ever, like on my blood and urine tests, all this stuff comes back. The sodium level was elevated. He goes, "What's going on with the sodium?" I go, "I have no idea." As I'm like still licking, I'm like, "Well, I did have a bag of potato chips on the way in."
On the way over.
I tell you what, I did recently buy the 40% less sodium potato chips. No, you know what's left over? A potato. And it's not the same. And it was kettle cooked, and it was very delicious, and a local brand too, so it's good. But sorry, it turns out salt is a key component in a lot of it. But you know, I hang out with someone that's been in the medical industry for a long time, and she's gotten me to cut back a little bit here and there. You can find some substitutes, but not quickly.
Yep.
I mean, you have to work for it. If I just I like quick food, and that's salt and sugar, baby.
You ever use that Himalayan pink sea salt?
Yeah, that's very fashionable right now, yeah.
Yes.
I was in a sauna recently on a little vacay, and they had that on the walls. The walls was all that Himalayan pink salt.
Very flavorful.
Well, I thought it's a sauna. How do you say it? Sauna?
Sauna.
A sauna. That's how you say it. But isn't it dry enough already? And they had the salt walls. I think it was just a gimmick, but I was digging it. I was digging the sweat, but yeah.
I always assume that when I see pink salt, I just think it's salt with some food dye.
Oh, it's really good.
Probably is.
Really?
Oh, is it?
Very flavorful.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it.
And there's like elements that are healthier for
you. I'm going to use it in my next margarita.
Try it.
Okay.
So we've discussed all the good things cheese can bring in your life. Real quickly, though, they're not all, well, I don't know that any of them are good for you, but I can tell you what's definitely the worst for you.
Uh-oh. The good ones, the ones we all like.
The good ones. American cheese. Just generally, the old-fashioned just American cheese. Very heavily processed, full of preservatives, loaded with salt, and it is only orange because of the food coloring.
You bet your red, white, and blue ass it is, and I'll have a second slice.
It's American cheese. Why is it orange? Why not make it red, white, and blue?
Well, while they're at it, do it. I'll eat it.
Make it look like an old ABA basketball.
That's funny.
I'd eat the hell out of it.
Yeah.
It's like the Golden Gate Bridge. Why is it orange? Why isn't it gold?
I thought it was just rusty, but they painted
that's an orange paint. They paint that thing every day of the year. By the time they finish, they start over. It's constantly being painted.
That's nuts.
It's a job.
Elements.
Someone has that job that's all they do.
That's your year-round job. When I was in England, I know we're way off topic, but when I was in England, but there was a couple having lunch, and we ended up at the same table with them to be able to be seated and eat. And I asked what he did, and he said, "Well, I put up the Christmas decorations around London." And I said, "Oh, okay." And then this, of course, was in October. I said, "What about the rest of the year?" He goes, "It's a year-round job in London." I went, "Oh, okay." They put them up for 6 months, and they take them down apparently for 6 months. It's that's like the Golden Gate Bridge painter. I
have been in London in the month of December, and you just go around the corner, and it looks like a movie set. Like, oh my God, it is so beautiful with the lights strung across all the streets, and then you recognize, but I'm still in a cramped space because I'm in England, and they built all these buildings when people were 5'4". The charm only lasts for so long.
I get it.
That's how that goes. Any cheese that comes in a can or a jar.
Well,
definitely not going to be good for you.
Well, we know this, though. We're not fooling ourselves.
Like Tony's aforementioned cheese whiz. Easy cheese, any sort of nacho cheese. Apparently, brie is also on the no-fly zone. It's very high in calories, and it's loaded with saturated fat.
You can have the brie.
Oh, so good.
Is it? Is that the soft one? Is it soft?
Very soft.
I like a good brie. I love I love Stilton, which is not Roquefort. It's blue cheese, but from England. Oh, it is. That's a problem for me. I love blue cheese, but if you put Stilton in front of me, I'm just like, oh.
Okay, what's Stilton?
It's just a blue cheese, but it's from England. It's not French.
Top
it's
shelf.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like I would never buy it because you'll go look at it and it's like, why is this little nugget of cheese $9? But if it's on the table, I'm having some. Pre-grated Parmesan cheese. Stay away from that. Get the fresh is better than the kind that comes in the shaker, but this is the saltiest cheese you can buy.
No salt.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean, you don't overdo it too much with Parmesan. I mean, I have before.
Yeah.
But I'm still, I still like the white trash stuff in the shaker. That really over-processed crap.
Yeah.
If they want to come over to my table and grind it on there at a fancy Thai place, why not? But
finally, before I forget, if you get shredded cheese, not a good idea. They say always buy the block and shred it yourself, because shredded cheese, when it's prepackaged, is loaded with additives and preservatives.
I don't have all day to make tacos. For crying out loud! Shred my own cheese,
man.
Did we lose a war or something?
That sounds like that's. We got to come up with a perfect way to use it. It's a euphemism. Shoo, man. Well, next thing you're going to ask me to shred my cheese, huh? Speaking, here's a good one for shredding cheese. How about this? There is in Williams, Arizona now. This is pretty close to the Grand Canyon.
All right.
A perfect segue from a world of cheese. There is the first museum for fossilized poop.
Yes.
The poo.
How is this the first?
I don't know. It's called the Pooseum.
Of course it is.
I'm not making this up.
Yeah, of course it is.
On Route 66 in Williams, Arizona, which most people will see if you are on your way to the Grand Canyon, 60 miles south, there is now the Pooseum in downtown Williams. The term for fossilized poop is coprolite, not crapolite. Coprolite.
They were so close to getting it right.
Yeah. 8,000 pieces in the collection.
Okay.
8,000 pieces of fossilized
Is there
poop.
the crown jewel in the collection? Okay.
There is. It's a segment that is 2 feet long. And they do believe it, but it came from a T-Rex.
Oh, I thought it for sure would be a Minnesotan up north.
Feces.
The museum will cost you nothing other than the time you spend.
They just hope that. How do you not stop there? Where's this place at?
It's in Williams, Arizona, about an hour south of the Grand Canyon.
Down by our buddy Jeff, who was on the game show earlier, down there,
exactly
our
right.
pot-smoking patriot.
The Pooseum has a logo, and it is a T-Rex sitting on a turlet.
All right, I want the T-shirt.
Get the T-shirt. Yeah.
I mean,
pretty great.
I'm not going to go out of my way, but if I was traveling through, I'd go there.
I don't know about you, but when I find myself deep in debt to my drug dealer, my first thought is usually steal a beer truck. Yeah. I'll explain. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Tuesday, June the 4th. We've been talking about odd flexes, if you will, things that we're proud of that are on the odd side, things that we are proud of that we can do or that really aren't all that awesome, or at least, nothing to really get too excited about. We'll share a few more of those with you in a few moments because first things first, there's a guy in Indiana. His name is Bo Burchell, and he should be proud of himself because Bo Burchell, like a lot of us, found himself deep in drug debt.
Well,
a lot of us.
I mean, it was relative at the time. When I was $100 down, that was deep.
Yeah, that's a very, very, very good point. It's all about context. 39 years old. He's in his car last Thursday, and he sees, this is down in Indiana, he sees a truck full of beer pull up. It's a distributor's truck. It's beer and liquor. Pulls up outside of an establishment that is called the Cheers Bar. Good name. Mm-hmm. And he finds himself thinking, if I stole that truck.
We've all thought that.
And if I sold off all that booze, I could pay off all my drug debts. So he did just that. Stole the truck. Successfully got away with the truck. There was also a skid steer loader, which is looks like it's a what do you call it? It's like the
heavy junk, those big ass, right.
Bobcat thing. It's a skid steer loader.
We just call them Bobcats.
Yeah. One of those was in the truck. He spent hours. So he gets away in the truck.
Yeah.
He spends hours dismantling the security systems and the GPS devices on both the loader, the Bobcat, and the truck.
Not bad for a druggie.
But the problem was he didn't hide the truck itself from plain view to anyone looking for it. He found he was just in a field behind a club.
No.
Police drove by, were like, I think I got a visual on the truck I'm looking for. The Tan Sierra. I see it. They pull over. They find Bo hiding under a nearby bush.
Oh, good spot.
Yeah.
They didn't have time to get the Amazon logo on the side of the truck.
Pretty much it. So check this out.
Jeez.
The stolen skid steer, it had a value of $60,000.
Oh, wow.
The box truck itself worth about $50,000.
Okay.
The booze, $12,000.
$12,000.
Yeah, like, dude.
I wonder what his debts were. It doesn't sound like. And what were you thinking? You were going to just open up a booze stand on the corner?
I guess he thought he could just, drive around. It's hard to have a black market on legal goods. Hey, man, I heard you're looking for a little Canadian club.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just bought some.
I mean, you've really got to undercut the markets. Now your $12,000 worth of booze is worth about $4,000.
To make anybody to make someone feel good about buying it from you out of the back of a truck, you really got to cut that price down.
Yeah, you really do.
Yeah, several felony theft charges. I'm just saying. I mean, again, I appreciate the effort. You got away with the truck. That's the hard part.
I hope he's safe from his drug dealer in jail.
It's like anything in life. Just do the easy parts. I mean, don't get strung up on the easiest bits. Like just successfully. You stole it. Just hide it.
Right, exactly. Some tarp would be good. Just how about trees? Just drive it into a tree strip somewhere.
If you're going to a job interview, just shave. Just get a clean shave. It's the easy parts that you don't want to get hung up on. That's all I'm saying.
I bet he could use some drugs right now.
He probably could. There is a bar in Chicago that is selling. It's got a new shot. $5 shots of cicada-infused booze. Each shot has a cicada in the glass, and yes, you are supposed
cicada?
to.
You
yes,
can see
a full cicada, and you are supposed to eat the cicada when taking the shot.
All right. Well,
like
I've
the
eaten
tequila
a worm.
Yeah.
Right. Same deal. I know we're in a cicada frenzy right now. Of course, back east where the broods, this is one of those epic broods of cicadas have been unleashed. But didn't we have an unfun fact last Tuesday that we consume like 1,000 bugs in our life anyway because they're bug parts and
just
coffee.
Everything.
It's just ground into our life.
Yep, they certainly are.
All right. I don't know that I need to go out of my way for the cicada shot. They're eating them and frying them up like shrimp and people just lose their minds.
But if you find yourself in Chicago, Noon Whistle Brewing, they have a cicada-infused shots. This is there's a liqueur down there called Malort, I guess is how you pronounce it. M-A-L-O with an umlaut. Or RT. It's a wormwood liqueur that has been compared to citrus-flavored gasoline. So if you're drinking that already, you don't care what the cicada is the least of your concerns.
A damn bug in there. I don't care.
So they dump a bunch of dead cicadas in the bottle, and they all get infused with that Malorty goodness, and then they'll pour you a shot and toss a cicada in the glass.
All right. Now, you did a little traveling. You returned back to the southeast and sent us a video. I know you sent it to us on our cell phones of all the cicadas going crazy down there.
The noise is astounding.
Is that what it is? Is it just driving everyone mad?
Yeah,
is that what's
if you
happening?
are, and it goes,
cicadas?
Tree to tree to tree. Some trees are just completely covered in cicadas, and the next tree will have very few.
All right.
So on a walk down the street, it's like a Doppler effect. It gets louder and then it goes away. It gets louder. I mean, like you'll as you approach a tree, right away, like, oh, this one's going to be loaded because it's getting with every step, the tree gets louder and louder and louder and louder.
Wow.
But yeah, that sound does just after a while. It's like exhausting. You're like, I gotta just go inside.
He's starting to twitch just listening to it. I could see where it could get a little grating. It's not like the waves rolling in, is it?
Not soothing.
No, it's not soothing at all. I was in Japan. We were on tour in Japan. Our bass player got a tattoo, which in 1992 was hard to do in Japan. You had to find a tattoo artist who was willing to work on you, and they were usually connected to the Yakuza. It was still an organized crime. You never saw tattoos out in public in Japan in 1992.
Don't believe I'd be going to look for one.
But the promoter knew a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy. And bass player, there was a very famous tattoo artist, and our bass player, Johnny, wanted to get a tattoo from this guy. And they came and picked him up at the hotel and literally put him in a van, drove him sort of out of central Tokyo, pulled over on the side of the road, put him in a different car, drove him out into the country,
they blindfolded
third vehicle, and then they blindfolded him.
No.
Completely true story. And when he got the blindfold off, he was in a barn, like a barn building on a farm.
Yeah.
You would have no clue where he could possibly be. And they handed him...
Please tell me he got barbed wire
They handed him basically a massive... yeah, that'd be great. Japanese script that says beef and broccoli or something. They handed him like a jar of alcohol, and there was a lizard in the jar. And they were like, drink this. And he had a few sips, and he said it was like almost all but tripping right away. Like really strong.
All right.
So he disappears for the day, and then we're all at dinner that night, and he shows up in the middle of the meal, and he's like, hey guys, what's going on? We're like, are you okay? He tells us the whole story, and then he opens his shirt to reveal on his chest a samurai's severed head tattoo.
Oh my God.
Which was incredible. And by the way, you hang out. He sat there with the tattoo artist. They spoke to each other through an interpreter. And the deal is, you don't say what it is, and you don't get to say where it goes.
Oh,
He agreed to that ahead of time.
Oh.
The guy was like, right here on the chest plate. Boom.
Oh, my gosh.
And it was amazing.
It's just been a big ball sack he wants to put on your chest. That's what you're getting.
Done.
All right. I'll need some more of that lizard juice, please.
So that's not quite the same as this. This is just a shot with a cicada in it.
No, that's not anything
However,
like that.
But if you take 3 or 4 shots, you may find yourself tattooing yourself. just for
good old prison tattoo.
Just for kicks and giggles, as they say. Whatever it takes, man.
Yeah, whatever it takes.
But so we're talking about things people are talk about that they're odd things you're proud of. That's a real thing to be proud of. Oh yeah, I went and had a guy.
Yeah, it's a good story.
Stick a severed samurai's head on my chest.
Oh my God.
I guess. I wonder if that's symbolic of anything, or if he was just punking him like, yeah, he's gonna hate this in a year or something like that. But
the guy's name amongst tattoo people, this guy's really famous.
Right.
It was and this is 92 was at the early end of everybody on Earth has a tattoo, and so it was a really big there would be different parts of the world backstage, and people would show up to Johnny and be like, can I see this
something
tattoo?
of honor.
Oh, they knew about it, man. Yeah, it was really cool.
Awesome. What was the expression on the?
I can kind of see. I don't really remember. I just
tongue hanging out of his mouth.
I remember the first time I saw it. I was kind of like, I was having a rough go of it in life, and I was things were really stressing me out a lot, and I was just a little out over my skis with where things had moved, and I wasn't feeling good in my own skin generally. And then I saw that, and I was just like, what kind of Twilight Zone world are we living in? Like, what in the hell? They could have... I don't know. It just really freaked me out in real time. And then within a few days, I was like, man, that thing's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Grew on you.
At no point did I think I'm going to go get one of those tattoos.
Just for the
blindfold me and stick me in. No, I wouldn't have come back from that.
Yeah.
Or I would have gone and talked to the guy, and he would have said, like, I'm going to put a Titleist golf ball on your forehead. Oh, damn it. Damn it.
Well, it's kind of like my first tattoo. I was blind drunk there. Jeff, our game show contestant earlier, brought up Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. St. Roberts is the little town right outside the gates there, and you get your 3-day pass, and we all ran out there and got our tattoos, and I wanted the naked lady with... And the only reason I wanted Mom on the ass of the naked lady is because I was drunk, and I thought it was funny, because the last thing my mother said to me before I went off to basic was, now, don't get a tattoo, Brian. And I thought, I'm going to get a tattoo of a naked lady with Mom, and then show it to her. And thank God I had a buddy sitting there going, just give him the freaking eagle, like everybody else, and get him out of here. So
that's great.
Yeah, that's my tat story, and we're talking about things you're oddly proud of but rarely talk about. Here's one that keeps showing up: toe dexterity. The best one I'm looking at, a person who said their middle toe doesn't curl so they can flip people off with their feet. I'm not sure how I'd feel if someone flipped me off with it, because if you get flipped off, I get a little chippy.
But
if
you're the middle toe?
Yeah, then maybe I'm just laughing away,
On the KQ Talking text line, 651-989-ROCK, this text from Brian: proud little flex, I'm 24, and I've never broken a bone. Again, knock on wood.
Well, that's good. Hopefully you just haven't been avoiding it. You got to get out there and you got to break some stuff to have a good time.
I'm pretty sure I broke a bone like 3 weeks ago. I smashed my pinky toe so hard.
How's that doing?
Still swollen. I haven't taped it. I haven't done anything with it. It's still red and swollen. I probably got to get that looked at. Or I'll just tape it down one of these days.
This will piss you guys off. Just looking at, sorry, I'm very concerned about your toe.
Please.
But I told you got to tape that sucker.
I know.
I'm on the KQ Facebook post. It's kind of blowing up here this morning. Things you're oddly proud of. Jayc Martin, J.C. Martin, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen 1 second of any of the Godfather movies. Oddly proud of that. Was able to, I wonder if it's one of those things that people get so worked up. It's like sometimes I get into, Steve is a huge Beatles fan. I'm like one tier lower, but I'll get really amped up about the Beatles and people will start to, oh, yes, we know they're great.
Yeah.
And you're a big fan. And so maybe it's one of those things he's rebelling.
Could very well be.
Gordon fabricated.
By the way, at some point, if you've never seen any of the Godfathers, it can't. You will watch it and go, okay, yeah. And I mean, when you hear about it for decades, nothing can live up to the hype.
Yeah,
really. But that said, still get on the stick, man. Those first two are going to set you free.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, they're fantastic movies. Gordon, I fabricated titanium panels on the Hubble spacecraft. That's pretty.
Wait, no, brag away, dude.
Yeah, that's odd. You can brag away.
I'd let that one rip. I tell you who's very proud of something right now. A man named Vinod Kumar Chowdhury. He just broke the Guinness book. He just broke the Guinness World Record for. And he did this in 25.66 seconds. Okay. He typed the alphabet with his nose.
Don't say like that.
What? Why? Okay.
The rules state you have to type all 26 letters with a space in between in correct order with your nose. And he literally just picture an old school typewriter or, like a computer, a keyboard, and then picture just a guy, like those little birds that the water bird thing.
Yeah, with the top hat.
The top hat. And it just dook, dook, dook. He is just slamming his nose into the keyboard. Space A, space B, space C, space. And he got all 26 in a row correctly in under 26 seconds. And that is a legit Guinness World Record. So, Vinod Kumar Chowdhury, feel proud about that one.
Very sharp nose.
I hope the aliens aren't watching. What if they let's see what's going on Earth. Let's check in with the Earthlings. And they see this goofball. They're going to be like, do we invade? Should we just blow the whole damn thing up? Turn it into a parking lot?
My oldest brother, Bob, he's retired now, was a newsman for 40 years. Newspaper guy, small town newspaper guy. Wrote columns for years. Won awards out the wazoo in both South Carolina and New York State. Very, very, very lauded career. Types with 2 fingers to this day. Just the index finger. Everything's just,
That's Hemingway.
Only thing he's missing is a cigar and a fedora. When he starts typing, you're like, what is this, 1940?
And a hat that says press.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing. So things, people, we are proud of things. I can spit more than 15 feet.
That's impressive.
15 feet. Yeah.
Well,
no
if you're talking about a hawker, if you're coughing up a lung oyster, sure, but just normal spit, that's not going 15 feet.
No, that just sprays if you try to put too much torque behind it. But if you get a good lug going. Yeah.
Oh, here's one that I'm grateful I don't have to deal with. An odd flex. I have a very sensitive nose. I can smell things others can't. I can pick out different people's smell once I know them for a bit. I wouldn't want a nose that was that fine-tuned at all.
No, of all the senses, during COVID, the sense of smell, like so many people, and never really came back. I don't have a very acute sense of smell, and I'm cool with that because I live in the city. Mm-hmm. If I lived out in the meadows somewhere at the top of the mountains, perhaps I would miss that fresh air. But in the city, I just feel like I'm missing out on more bad than good. Terry kicks everyone's ass with things on the KQ Facebook post here. Gave birth to 7 babies with no pain meds.
Oh, that's a warrior.
Gee whiz. That's almost a fetish. Wow. Or not a fetish. But fetish. I mean, you kind of like pain, don't you? Or you get into that?
My mom has got such a high pain tolerance. I mean, she had 8 kids. And she, almost, a year and a half ago, she fell. Mm-hmm. This is a woman who at the time was 94 years old. She's now 96. She fell and she broke her nose and split her forehead open. And I rush up to the hospital and she's like, "Hi, honey. me? And I'm like, they haven't stitched you. They haven't done anything yet. She's like, yeah, it doesn't hurt. I don't know. I'm like, around somewhere. I'm glad somewhere around that 6th baby, I guess you just stopped noticing pain.
She said, cut me, Mick.
Basically, well, you know what she said? Honest to God, I walked into an ER. There's my 94-year-old mother whose face is already completely bruising over.
Wow.
I mean, she looks like she got hit by a train. And she looks at me, and the first thing she says is, "You should see the other guy."
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
God.
Oh, she's funny.
Yeah, completely nuts. There was one I was going to mention, and now I've lost it. So many things that we're proud of. I just wanted to go back and say one more time to Gordon. If I fabricated titanium panels on the Hubble spacecraft, I'd wear that on a shirt.
Hell yeah.
Right.
Carry around pictures.
Yeah, no kidding. Absolutely.
How about this from Raymond? I'm not bragging, but I've been on my own since the age of 12. Less than a 6th grade education, I raised my 10-year-old sister. Dude, well done.
Yeah, no kidding.
Bravo.
That's bucking the odds, isn't it?
Yeah, that's making it happen.
Constance has 14,000 recipes saved in her phone.
Oh, I hit save.
Oh, my God. Yeah. That's 14,000.
Ian Page on the talking text line. I was on the crew that painted Kirby Puckett's house in Edina.
Oh, oddly proud, but right.
Yeah.
I'll take your page and I'll raise you a Paul. When I read for fun, I could still read 100 pages an hour. I have the ability to speed read at a crazy level. 100 pages an hour.
Our friend Amy, who texts a good bit, has just given me a solid with a pinky toe fix for the pinky toe. I just want to say, Amy, thank you.
What?
I will follow your advice.
Okay. Good. Which is?
She says you can go on Amazon, buy these little toe splints, silicone slides over the pinky toe. Supports it. I wore mine for a month. Everything's back to normal.
I told you just to tape it to the other toe. That's basically the same thing. That's like the more expensive version of what I told you.
But you didn't use the word silicone. And you didn't use the word slide or splint at all.
Oh, no, I didn't. I just said tape it to your other toe.
No, I mean, you basically looked at me and said, rub dirt on it and deal with
Take
it.
a lap.
This text just came in. I can wiggle my ears. You know who else can wiggle their ears? Me.
No way.
Yeah,
I want to see this.
I can get, well, you won't be able to. I got to, hang on. I got to take the headphones off. It's a process. But they'll move. Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't discover that till much later in life.
With all that hair, I don't think we've ever seen your ears.
Yeah.
How'd you discover it?
Because people were talking about it. I was like, hey. And they was like, hey, your ear's moving. I was like, oh, right on. I can't wiggle it like there's those scenes from Little Rascals where they sped the film up and someone, I don't know, Froggy or somebody's ears are, it's not like that. But they definitely move on demand.
You know what I love about that? Right now out there in traffic somewhere, I'm going to say on 169, because it all happens on 169. Two people just looked at each other with an odd look on their face trying to wiggle their ears.
Yes.
Of course.
I just tried it. I don't feel any movement in my headphones.
Amy, my best friend in the world, now texting, don't listen to Brian. I tried taping it to the other toe and it hurt so bad. That's why I went for a different social distance. In your face, Zep.
I didn't know no better. I mean, that's what they would do when you'd break a toe and I was playing ball, they would just tape it to, or a finger.
Sure.
Yeah, they just tape it to the other digit. Okay, but it could be wrong.
Dapperoo.
Hey, the Minnesota House, a bipartisan, that's still a word that exists apparently, a bipartisan bill is allowing for lane splitting for motorcyclists. It will go into effect next summer. A lot of questions about what that actually means, a lot of questions about why this is such a good thing. So we're going to go back into that story. And Donnie Morley, our buddy from the St. Croix Valley Riders Association, I got to make sure I get the words in the right order, is going to phone in. If you have any questions about what this means, lane splitting for Minnesotans and motorcycles, send those questions into the talk and text line 651-989-ROCK. Our buddy Donnie will answer those questions and more and explain exactly why this is such a cool thing. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ talk and text line 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Tuesday, June the 4th. And as we mentioned a few times on the show already today, the Minnesota, our state house has passed a law that will go into effect next summer. Lane splitting for motorcyclists will be legal. And we've had a lot of comments on the talk and text line, people in support and people very much not in support.
Yeah.
And since we're just a couple of knuckleheads, we figured we'd get some folks on here who really know all about this. Donnie Morley from the St. Croix Valley Riders Association and State Representative Judy Seeberger, two of the people who have a lot to say about this and were responsible for this bill, Judy Seeberger anyway, are with us now on the KQ Morning Show. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Go ahead, Judy.
Happy to have you both on the show. Judy, I'm going to start with you. You sponsored this legislation. How long did it take, soup to nuts, to get this thing passed?
Well, I want to correct you on one thing. It was Senator Julia Coleman who was the author. I was happy to co-author it with her, and we were able to partner and work together on that. It took a couple of months to get it done. I think there was a lot of support for it, and so obviously that helps to get it through the process.
The idea, and we've said this on the show this morning, a bipartisan bill, that is alone enough cause for celebration, just to know, hey, that we got people on both sides of the aisle agreeing on something, so that's nice. And then, again, Zepp has spoken about this a little bit, as he is a longtime rider. You also ride, Judy, correct?
I do, yeah. I've been on two wheels since I was 9 years old.
And so this is the kind of thing. I'm going to ask you to explain the specifics of the law and then explain why this is so important to you and that you think this is actually better for everybody, not just two-wheelers.
Yeah, absolutely. So the law states that if you're on a motorcycle and the idea really is to help people out when they're in stop traffic. You can go between cars. You can lane split or lane filter is what it's called. You go between the cars in stop and go or stopped traffic on a multi-lane roadway like a freeway. And you can only go 25 miles an hour. You can't go, freeway speeds, 25 miles an hour max, and you can only go 15 miles an hour faster than the traffic around you. That's what the bill says. That's what the law says. And the reason for that is if you think about a hot summer day, and you're on I-94, right, and you're in the traffic and nothing's moving and you stopped and you're on a motorcycle, the likelihood of you as a motorcyclist getting rear-ended are sky high. People just don't see you. We know that people don't see motorcycles. And motorcyclists also overheat when you're sitting there. You don't have the AC. You've got your protective gear on, and you're in the hot summer sun. So the idea is to get these motorcyclists, the riders, out of this situation, which is dangerous, and get them to a place where they can have a little more safety and get out of that situation. So, it's not to give them extra rights to go, speeding through, stop traffic. That's not what it's about at all. It's all about safety, preventing them from getting rear-ended and preventing them from overheating.
So I think it's safe to say the average driver, if you will, who's not on two wheels ever, probably doesn't realize how often motorcycles do get rear-ended. It's a very common thing, I guess.
It's a very common thing, and it's devastating.
Yeah, actually,
we don't have the protections when we're on a motorcycle like we do when we're when we're in a car. You get rear-ended in your car. You get some damage to your car. God forbid, it's a high-speed rear-end collision.
Right.
Excuse me, Donnie.
Hey,
Donnie, let me get. You guys are on separate phone lines. You may not know this, but you're both talking at the same time. So I don't know if you guys can hear each other. So I just want to jump in and let you know that you're overlapping.
Yeah.
Donnie had jumped in here to talk about the safety of splitting the lanes a little bit, and I don't know which one wants to go.
So hold on, Judy. I'm going to ask you, Judy, to finish that thought, please. Thanks.
Yeah, Judy,
sure.
Go ahead.
My point was you simply don't have the protection on a motorcycle that you would in a car getting rear-ended, and it is a very, very common scenario on roadways.
So this is definitely something that, because we've had a lot of people texting in, as I mentioned, saying, oh, this is going to add to problems. And I think the general point is you don't realize these problems are already happening. This is going to alleviate and limit the likelihood of this happening. Donnie Morley from the St. Croix Valley Riders Association. Donnie, what were you saying, sir?
All right, thanks. Yeah, it is. I cannot hear Judy on this line, and I don't want to turn the radio up, so thanks for guiding us through this. The Institute of Insurance Highway Safety did a study. They studied 10 small SUVs at three different speeds, 33,
37 and 43 miles an hour. And what they were studying was the emergency braking systems that come as driver assist automation, and they're also relevant in self-driving cars. These systems are supposed to sense fixed objects and either stop or swerve the vehicle. Mm-hmm. Out of the 10 SUVs that were tested at these 3 speeds, only one SUV managed to avoid running over the motorcycle, and that was at speeds 33 and 37.
Yeah.
So the likelihood of a motorcycle getting rear-ended in stop-and-go traffic and slow traffic is incredibly huge. It happens all the time. And for those riders out there and motorists that think this is a bad law, change is always scary. But this is a really good tool in the tool belt of a motorcyclist to help preserve their ride for the day, to help preserve their life. It gives us an option to go between vehicles, and again, this is all at slow speeds, to not get rear-ended. And again, like most of our motorcycle-related laws in Minnesota, this is freedom of choice. You don't have to do this. This isn't the law that says we all have to lane split. You can pick and choose. If you're not comfortable to lane split or to filter at a stop sign or stoplight, by all means, don't do it.
Yeah, and I would say to my friends, and I have friends that don't ride that have freaked out about this, just the concept they don't understand. And I would say to them that I will guarantee and assure you that all of the motorcyclists involved in putting this bill together and lobbying this bill and getting it passed and all the support it has from all of the bikers that I know are not trying to make the roads more dangerous in the metro. I can assure you that. Exactly the opposite. We're trying to make them safer because the metro and the distracted driving and the congestion and the cell phones have made it an incredibly dangerous place to be. We talk about rear-ending. I know I'm just thinking about it while Senator Seeberger and Donnie are talking here. I know 4 people in the last few years in the metro area of Minneapolis-St. Paul that have been rear-ended by people that were just distracted, didn't see them. And you get rear-ended on a motorcycle, it's not a fender bender. It's a life and death situation. We've already reported 1 motorcycle accident and a highway shutdown in White Bear this morning. I don't know what the specifics were, but we're trying to make it safer, and that's the reasoning behind this bill, not to try and get away with something, although, let's be honest, we are. You're stuck in 4 wheels, and we're going to blast right past you. But no, that's not the point. And this legislation is to make things safer. And tell us when it goes into effect. Because we're going to have bikers out there today going, woo, I'm going to split the lanes.
Yep. Nope. Don't do it yet. It goes into effect on July 2025.
Yeah, Judy's talking right now, Donnie. Thank you.
All right.
Yep, we've got a whole year to wait. And the reason for that is we threw a little money toward a public awareness campaign as well. So I so appreciate KQ taking the time to talk about this and start the public awareness piece. But we're going to have a full year to get this public awareness and public education piece out, too, so that motorists aren't surprised when they start seeing this happen on the roads.
All right.
That's great. State Senator Judy Seeberger, how many members, percentage-wise, ballpark of the State House, how many people ride? Do you know?
Oh, my gosh. I don't know. It's not a high percentage. I know about 3 of us, maybe 3 or 4 of us.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Wow.
Yeah, so it passed already with a lot of people that aren't motorcycle riders. So they've looked at the data, and they've crunched the numbers and thought that this would be a safer approach for the congestion that we have here in the Minnesota Metro. Senator Seeberger, thanks for your comments on that. I'm going to ask Donnie a question, and then we'll throw it back to you, Senator Seeberger, and that is this ground. While we've got a couple of minutes, I want to talk about this ground lighting bill. Donnie, you brought this to my attention. Explain to our bikers and everyone else what the ground lighting bill and why this is a big deal.
This is a big deal because it's motorcycles, the lighting on them is pretty inadequate, and this will allow motorcyclists, and Judy will have to follow through with this on, I believe this is also 2025 where this bill or this law goes into effect. But we are now able to do ground effect lighting on our motorcycles. It has to be white light. It can't be flashy blue or red, of course. The radius of the ground light cannot exceed 6 feet around the motorcycle. So in essential, we're going to be able to cruise down the road with a 12-foot ball of light on the ground underneath us.
Yeah,
and
more visible.
That will help. much more visibility, especially, on some of these county roads in Wisconsin and Minnesota where a lot of us ride, and it's dark outside. So that's going to help out.
Hey, any chance I can get to attract more bugs to myself out on the open road? I want to take that opportunity. Thank you. Senator Seeberger, do you want to comment on the ground lighting bill?
I don't have a whole lot more to add than what my good friend Donnie already talked about.
All right.
But again, the idea is safety and increased visibility of those of us out when we're out riding on two wheels.
All right, there you have it. Senator Seeberger and Donnie, thank you both for calling in, and we will continue to talk about this. As you said, we got a year before this goes into effect, and we're happy to help you guys get the word out. Thank you both.
Thank you so much for having us on the air this morning, guys.
You got it. We'll talk to you both soon.
Yeah.
See you.
Bye-bye.
It's funny, though, because this is one of those things. I mean, for every text saying, hey, thanks for explaining this, I was confused, or I think this is great. Here's a text right here. Been riding for 51 years, love the new laws. And then right behind this is another self-serving law by the authors. Motorcycle riders are historically aggressive and entitled motorists.
That's right. Shut your face or I'll come beat you with a lead pipe.
That's exactly it.
No. I mean, I could see why you would say that. Listen, there isn't a day that I don't go out into traffic and get a little rankled. Like, what's that joker doing? No one wants to see someone getting away with something. And if it's they're splitting the lanes. That's why we got kids into trouble back in the day. They'd get on the shoulders and do these crazy things on two-wheelers. But trust me, you heard Senator Seeberger, to this person who sent the text. Most of the people that passed this law do not ride motorcycles. Right. They passed it because we'd like to make it safer for motorcyclists out on these insanely congested metro highways, and the cell phones have just made it. Like I said, I feel like it's only a matter of time until I get blown out on my two-wheeler before I go down, because there are just too many close calls in the metro. Let's make it a little bit safer. We'll split the lanes. It's already being done, by the way.
And it is already being done. And again, this is, if anything, all this is going to do is reduce the number of things that are already happening on a regular basis. Yeah. Motorcycles are getting smacked.
Yeah. You know who else is aggressive out there? People on four-wheelers, trucks, cars. Everybody's aggressive in the metro. There's a lot of that going on out there, and so we're just trying to make it safer for everyone.
Here's something I have never done: magnet fishing.
No, well, that's you'll find it at the state fair, the boat show. You get a little prize. The kids get the fishing pole with the magnet on the end. Yeah.
I'm now fully. You have my attention, magnet fishing community, because a couple from Queens, New York, this is part of New York City, during the pandemic, they started magnet fishing, started a YouTube channel. They got a lot of followers. They've done pretty well. They're going around just pulling stuff out of the bottom of rivers and lakes and ponds on a regular basis. They just found a safe, reeled it in and opened it up and found stacks of $100 bills, as in $100,000.
What? Someone's safe fell off their boat?
Someone lost the safe. They said they'd found a lot of old safes, never anything like this. Open it up. Yeah, they immediately, this was in New York City, at a body of water in the New York City area. They contacted the NYPD. They thought, well, there's got to be some legalities involved. The owner of the safe, likely stolen, could not be identified. The police said, hey, it's your money. Keep it.
Oh, nice. Sweet. Finders keepers.
That's rare.
Clearly, they're not using the old Fisher Price with the magnet on the end.
Oh, no, hungry hippos.
That's it.
That's it.
This is so a lot of the bills. Well, the bills were soaking wet, and a lot of them were pretty much destroyed, unfortunately. But they're still going to be able to get a few. They're saving some cash out of this. Just in the last few years, they said this couple said they started magnet fishing. They were just bored during the pandemic and saw somebody doing this. Their YouTube channel has a few thousand subscribers, over 1 million views. They've pulled up World War II grenades, 19th century guns, a motorcycle in the bottom of a pond, purses that hold foreign coins, pearls, gold, jewels. That's a lot of stuff. In May, in New Orleans, a magnet fisher reeled in a human skull padlocked to an exercise dumbbell.
Ooh. Well,
so for every $100,000, you get a grandfather's skull.
Was it Houdini?
I'm not sure. Yeah, really. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
So, boy, suddenly I'm like, really? You just get a couple of good, strong magnets and head out there.
What's down there?
Man.
You know, there's a lot of stuff down there everywhere, every body of water, especially around a metro area. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. I bet there's a lot down there.
There's an awful lot that someone really would be shocked to find out you found it. Are you serious? I thought I really did enough there.
Sons of bitches.
I knew a guy who had a metal detector. He was a big coin collector dude. Mm-hmm. When I was a kid, it was a kid I knew, his dad, and you'd just see him, and he had the little headphones and the whole rig in the 70s,
Mm-hmm.
and he was constantly looking for coins, and he'd find bullets and all kinds of stuff, and like on the school ground, he'd be on the school playground, like you'd look out and go, Bobby, why is your dad out there? And he's like, he's just on another search. But found all kinds of stuff. I mean, it was astounding how much crap is just right there in the grass.
I know that my grandma Jenny, that's what she used to do that, and she would go out to the abandoned schools, those old country schools around the South Dakota countryside, and I just remember her one big haul, because I was a little kid when she did this, but her one big haul was she found a wedding ring, an engagement ring, or a diamond.
Oh, sure.
A big diamond ring out there, but it was a lot of junk and watches and stuff like that. Nothing too expensive, but gave her something to do, and always came back with a big box full of crap.
Yeah, nothing like adding crap to a house full of crap.
Yeah,
at least it's in the right place. All right, how about we look back? What was happening 50 years ago tonight in Cleveland, Ohio? The Cleveland Indians hosted the Texas Rangers. Now, a week before this game, the two teams played in Texas, and the the Rangers hosted what they called cheap beer night in Texas. And it didn't really go well. Both teams, there ended up being a brawl on the field.
Yeah.
And the drunk Rangers fans were throwing all their beers at the Indians' dugout.
Predictably.
And so that went down. So a week later, on this day, June 4th, the two teams meet again in Cleveland, and the Indians front office goes, hey, let's do our own version of that. And it was, wait for it, 10-cent beer night.
Oh, payback, baby.
What could go wrong? 65,000 10-cent beers were sold to a crowd of 25,000.
Holy cow.
Almost every single inning had a delay. Kids were running on the field because their drunk parents weren't paying attention. A drunk adult woman ran on the field and attacked the umpire, attempting to kiss him. A father and son team ran onto the field to moon the crowd.
Yes.
There were multiple streakers. Rangers manager Billy Martin, of all people, took his team off the field once the cherry bombs started landing in the dugout.
Wow. Just have to bring their cherry bombs to the
Indians fans were throwing garbage onto the outfield. And then in the bottom of the ninth, the game was tied 5-5. A small group of fans hopped onto the field and started taking hats off the Rangers' heads. Cleveland, Cleveland, 10-cent beer night. Don't do it.
Twins, just one night. Give us one night of just mayhem. And
Tom Hilgendorf, a player for the Rangers, was attacked with a folding chair.
Oh
the list goes on and on and on. And finally, in the middle of the ninth inning, the umpire finally called the game. He was like, this is ridiculous. We can't do this. The city safety director, John T. Carney, said, obviously, some people went down there for 10-cent beers, and they became wild men. They lost control. Everybody went berserk. It's an act of God. Nobody was killed.
That's funny.
Well, it's all
live and learn.
Fun and games.
The 70s in Cleveland, apparently not a great time, generally speaking. The mistake by the lake and all that. The river, the Cuyahoga River, just kept engulfing in flames and stuff. You heard about all that.
It's an edgy time.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.